You can count on it, Jabba.
And you, Jabba, can count on Anakin's daughter in 23 years to strangle you to death with a chain while scantily clad in a swimsuit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Elondhar. I'm Andrew J. Freeman, your host. Do you enjoy adventures? If so, please join me as I review animated movies and shows from a Christian and biblical perspective. Our quest? To discover what is gold and what is garbage. We'll analyze movies and shows for their aesthetics, function, story structure, music, and morals. So, without further delay, let's begin our journey.
This shouldn't take long.
Star Wars: The Clone Wars. It was released on August 10, 2008 by Lucasfilm and now owned by Disney. Directed by Dave Filoni, music by Kevin Kiner, and distributed by Warner Bros. With an $8.5 million budget and $68.3 million box office. So, profit. It has a 5.9 out of 10 IMDb rating, which is lower than the average of 6.7 to 7.0. Any movie with 60% or higher Rotten Tomatoes is considered good. This film only has 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's a big ouch. Alright, this film has a fairly loaded cast. We have Matt Lanter, James Arnold Taylor, Tom Kane, D. Bradley Baker, Corey Burton, Christopher Lee, and much more. So, as Count Dooku says, I've been looking forward to this. Now, I've watched the Star Wars live-action films. The original trilogy is marvelous, the prequels are fantastic, Rogue One was good, Han Solo was okay, and that's all the respectable canon Star Wars movies out there.
Might we have some refreshments?
No.
So, I start the movie and I hear people shouting battle commands. The ambiance includes frequency static and ear ringing. There's also a slight ominous humming in the background. I enjoy this opening because it builds tension and excitement. What is going to happen to those soldiers? What is going to happen next? But I'm also thinking, will this thriller moment be relevant to this film? Like all typical Star Wars beginnings, the logo and emblem appear on screen. The music is a new rendition or parody of the original score by John Williams. It has the classic Star Wars horns, but with a new addition of bongo drums, creating a militaristic undercurrent and building anticipation. The opening has a variety of snapshot scenes with a narrator summarizing the beginning of the Clone Wars after the Battle of Geonosis and Attack of the Clones. I like this. Instead of confusing the viewers with flashy action, the movie gives us the story's plot, and we are excited to see how it will occur. The movie introduces our antagonists, the Separatists, aka the Confederacy, with Count Dooku as their ringleader. Hey, check out the way his cape flows there. Nice attention to detail. But this is a ship. Is there just a massive blast of AC from a nearby vent blowing his cape? And why are the others affected? Or did Dooku just use the Force to blow his cape for show-offs? Or did the animators think this was a fun Easter egg to put in here? I think the cape blowing is unnecessary. Next we see that the protagonists are the Jedi, clones, and the Republic. This is some nice combat here. For 2008, this animation is fairly clean. Maybe Disney Plus enhanced the graphics, but the motion looks good for 2008. So here's the movie's plot. While the Jedi and Republic are busy fighting Dooku and his separatists, crime gangs are wreaking havoc across Outer Rim systems, where the Hutts dwell. A rival gang steals Jabba the Hutt's son, so he asks the Jedi to help rescue his son. Jabba promises advantageous resources and routes in the Outer Rim system to help the Republic combat the Confederacy more effectively if they succeed. The movie implicitly promises that the protagonist will save Jabba's son from the antagonists. I hope the movie keeps its promise, for its sake.
A galaxy divided, striking swiftly after the Battle of Geonosis.
The narrator's voice is impressive. It gives us sensational emotion of excitement for action and mystery in this vast Star Wars world. That threatening, enigmatic, yet adventurous music complements the narrator and sounds Star Warsy. Yes, that's a new word I'll use from now on. Add that to the dictionary, Mr. Webster.
Jabba requests that.
The holocron ambiance is nostalgic and soothing. While the Chancellor and Jedi discuss whether to help Jabba rescue his son, a beautiful and fantasy-heavy song softly plays with violins, cellos, and oboes in the background.
I don't like it, dealing with that criminal scum. This is a dark day for the Republic.
I
looked it up, and it's called the Jedi Council, and the score is sublime. It's mysterious like the Jedi and the Force. It's ethereal and celestial. I love it. I appreciate that the music matches the dialogue. When Mace mentions their enemy, General Grievous, the music becomes startling and ominous, with blaring, disordered chords.
They just captured the planet
I like how they have a sound effect for Mace crossing his arms. I love the detail. This next scene excites me because of the militaristic music and overtones with the massive ships and battle stations. It sounds, well, Star Warsy and adventurous, which is what we want in a Star Wars film. Windu and Yoda contact the Republic Admiral. They tell him to send a message to General Kenobi on the nearby planet Chrysophis.
It could be a solar storm, or they're rebooting their communication system. I'm sure the blackout is temporary.
I love this Admiral's voice. Tom Kane did a fantastic job voicing him. It's almost so good he seems like he's in a whole other galaxy than the Jedi. That is, in a galaxy far, far away. Next, there's a battle happening on Chrysophsis between the Republic and Separatists. We meet Anakin and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's voice actor does a marvelous job imitating Ewan McGregor. Matt Lanter takes on a new voice style and attitude for Anakin. So far, it's intriguing. I'll see if it grows on me or not. The Jedi now wear armor instead of traditional robes to act as generals. I thought May said they were not warriors. Oh, by the way, fun fact. Lucasfilm animated the Jedi with armor instead of robes because robe flow animation is costly. Why are these droids just marching in the open and firing? This isn't the 18th century Enlightenment era. And why are these clones just running in the open? Whoever was in charge of battle strategy needs to be fired. Look at Obi-Wan. He's kind of hitting nothing at all. So these clones are covering their ears while the guy petting R2-D2 doesn't seem to give a dime for the deafening blast. Movie, is this guy supposed to be extremely tough or deaf? If not, then you need more consistency. Either they all cover their ears, or none of them do. And if we see some super clones immune to sound and shock, where are they throughout the movie when we need them? The scene switches to a grim-looking Skywalker standing with some clones. The music introduces him with a heroic strike of drums, horns, and cellos. That's a nice picture and pose there. Also, Anakin's smug, confident, and rash personality matches his voice. I like it. That's a flashy but unnecessary role right there. LucasArts finally gives us some graphic war scenes. The R2-D2 petter's still not covering his ears. This movie is stubborn. That's a nice droid slice-up. The transition from seeing Anakin heroically posing to watching 10 clones and 2 Jedi taking cover is too sudden. It breaks the real time flow and it's not smooth. I hope these guys have earplugs. The Separatist leader retreats to establish a stronger defense. The battle is over. Anakin and Obi-Wan are in good spirits and assume the incoming ship has supplies. Obi-Wan has requested a new Padawan and expects her to be on the ship. He suggests that Anakin get a Padawan, but Skywalker refuses to because he says a Padawan will slow him down. So, Anakin here is selfish and wants all the glory for himself. A single youngling dressed like she's hitting the gym but looks like she's never done a push-up exits the ship. When Anakin asks who she is, she responds like this.
I'm Ahsoka?
Oh boy. The Jedi complain that their communications are jammed, and the youngling suggests that they send a signal through the cruiser behind her. Obi-Wan seems amused with her wit, but Anakin conceals his surprise. The Republic fleet relays the Jedi signal to Yoda. Yoda breaks Jedi protocol by addressing Obi-Wan as Mr. Kenobi.
Master Kenobi, glad Ahsoka found you, I am.
Obi-Wan explains to Yoda that they can't leave the planet because they are outnumbered and have no supplies. Yoda reassures Kenobi that the Republic will soon arrive with more supplies. His transmission breaks because a Separatist fleet attacks the Republic warship outside Chrysophsis. Check out the wall design behind the Jedi here. It's extremely basic and poor. It reminds me of a wall from Super Mario 64 or another 90s video game. This movie is from 2008. So far, the visuals in some scenes have been good, while others portray rudimentary graphics.
My apologies, young one. It's time for a...
Did you hear that voice right before Obi-Wan speaks? Who and what is that? A clone? On a different note, I like how they added the extra detail of recording the clone's footsteps in the background while the Jedi talked. Obi-Wan introduces himself to the Padawan. Ahsoka Tano, the youngling, explains that Yoda assigned her to be Anakin's Padawan. Skywalker is shocked and finds a way to deny it. Anakin points at Obi-Wan, but his hand disappears in this next scene. His hand should still be in the shot. There needs to be more detail and consistency here. Anakin goes to check on the clones and Obi-Wan suggests Ahsoka go with Skywalker. The scene switches to a fortress high on the cliff tops. I'm pretty sure the background sky and clouds are a canvas painting, not animated. It fits the setting and saves money. Ominous music plays as Dooku's apprentice hides Jabba's son in the palace. The eerie violins and echoing chamber bring a legitimate feeling of darkness and concern. Sidious shows up and declares that the Jedi will soon war with the Hutt clans. The movie switches to the Jedi. Clone Captain Rex gives a status report to Anakin that all is quiet on the Western Front. By the way, I hope you got that reference. Anyways, then Rex inquires who Ahsoka is. She responds with a smug tone.
So I thought you said you'd never have a Padawan.
I just love the way Rex says this.
Stop calling me that. You're stuck with me, Sky Guy.
What did you just call me?
Ooh. Ahsoka gets cocky with her master, and Anakin gets upset. He has Rex show her around, emphasizing that she must show more respect. Ahsoka says she outranks Rex because she's a Jedi and he's a clone, but Rex responds with a good line.
In my book, experience outranks everything.
According to Rex, experience outranks everything. This is why Yoda, for example, is a Grand Master of the Republic. He's old, so he's had lots of experience that give him wisdom to make better decisions and be very powerful with the Force. This is why the Jedi highly respect him. This is also why society must respect elderly people. It's because they have experience and thus wisdom. They are the past generation that has laid and preserved principles that keep society alive and thriving. History is also important to study because we study the past to avoid people's mistakes and build on what they did right. We understand people's experiences and our own to live wisely and have better lives. Experience influences our choices and helps us better apply wisdom to circumstances. When we use wisdom, we make the right choice, which produces excellent results. Proverbs 19:20 says, "Listen to advice and accept instruction that you may gain wisdom in the future." So respecting elders and those with more experience than us, listening to their wisdom, and applying it is crucial to a healthy society. Surprise! The droids are coming for another attack. Interestingly, Rex uses the D word. I thought this was supposed to be a kids movie. The droids have their massive reflector shield, so the clones fall back. The omniscient Ahsoka suggests destroying the shield so they can level the playing field. Rex thinks that's too difficult, but Anakin grudgingly agrees with her. Ahsoka walks away from the meeting like she's the master. Anakin stomps beside the youngling and calls her Snips. This annoys me. The scene switches to two clones scouting the fortress where the Separatists hide Jabba's son. They tell Master Windu where the Huttlet is. Yoda goes to help Obi-Wan and further explain the Huttlet situation. I love this Jedi temple scene. The ambiance of echoes, humming, whistles, and cellos are beautiful. Ahsoka and Anakin exchange some sly remarks. Then Anakin has an epiphany and grunts to himself with pleasure after he realizes that he and Ahsoka can sneak through the enemy lines. There's no way the droids did not see them. They can't be that blind. Movie, why do you have to make this so coincidental and convenient for the protagonists? Anakin shares some more experience and wisdom with Ahsoka. This scene transition to the next is too abrupt. I bet 30 seconds to a minute passed between these two scenes. And I don't know how Rex did not see Obi-Wan at all. Ahsoka and Anakin run into a droideka. Anakin tells her to run to get the droid rolling so they can stop and destroy it. After she had mocked him for his supposed indecision, he sarcastically remarks that she takes directions well, and Ahsoka puts on a hilarious smug face. Now, who wants to make this face their profile picture? Do you? Why isn't the droid or the clone firing at each other? And the other clones running by the droid aren't firing back either. The movie needs to enhance this fighting and make it realistic. Why have a dysfunctional droid or clones who usually walk around without using their weapons? And why do the clones wear such heavy armor when they get one-shotted? They might as well be wearing Speedos.
I've conceded the battle. Now we simply have to negotiate the terms of surrender.
Kenobi's confident yet arrogant voice is very characteristic, along with his smirk. It fits his features well. On a random note, I'm getting annoyed with his pointy beard and just wish he'd shave it off so he can cut off 20 years of age. The music sets an air of competition and uncertainty. Kenobi flatters the Separatist general and stalls by requesting refreshments. So I looked this up, and apparently, this Separatist general is called Worm Loathsome. I'm not kidding, that's his actual name. I can tell that Dave Filoni and the other writers were having a barrel load of fun with this movie. Yoda and the Republic fleet exit hyperspace to defeat the Separatist fleet, blockading aid to the Republic forces on Christophsis. Ahsoka and Anakin approach the Separatist shield generator. Ahsoka idiotically disobeys Anakin and triggers a bunch of traps. Ahsoka causes more trouble and belittles the problem she just created for Anakin. Ahsoka almost gets Anakin killed, and he's fuming. I think Obi-Wan was pretending to drink because I don't see anything entering his mouth. Unless the animators forgot to add the liquid, which is embarrassing. Kenobi keeps stalling and flusters the Scottish-sounding Separatist general. Ahsoka is so smug. Obi-Wan proceeds to destroy all the battle droids with some incredible acrobatics. The Separatist general could have run, but instead he stood there and watched Kenobi armlock him. The Republic defeats the Separatists, and the supply ships arrive conveniently after Anakin and Ahsoka destroy the generator. The music is victorious. Then Anakin turns to Ahsoka, and the music softens as the Padawan looks oppressed and forlorn. Okay, I want to explain something. Anakin is a well-established character in the Star Wars canon when this film is released. Ahsoka is a brand new character made specifically for this film and succeeding show. Her personality thus far makes me dislike her, and I wouldn't care if she never showed up in the movie or show again. She disrespects established characters and experienced elders for no good reason but to amuse herself. Now, after mocking her master and disobeying his orders, she silently pouts in the corner to turn herself into the victim and object of mockery and contempt, when Anakin has been the butt of all jokes thus far. Despite Ahsoka's unbridled enthusiasm, impatience, and arrogance, she is insecure. She needs someone who can handle her annoying personality and help her diminish it while nurturing her good characteristics.
You're reckless, little one. You never would have made it as Obi-Wan's Padawan. But you might make it as mine.
The harp and flute music here is excellent. I find it emotionally touching that Anakin accepts Ahsoka as his reckless Padawan. Despite all Ahsoka's blunders and flaws, Anakin looks beyond her shortcomings and sees potential in Ahsoka. He wants to make her potential a reality. So, he is willing to take her under his wing and help her become a better Jedi in person. Anakin decides to help Ahsoka emerge from her selfish and hyper shell. I respect Anakin for his choice because he sacrifices his ego and time to help a child find purpose by improving her skills and character.
Ready he is to teach an apprentice, to let go of his pupil. A greater challenge it will be.
Yoda explains the deep subject of attachment. Anakin is responsible enough to teach, but will he sacrifice to finally let go of his Padawan as she becomes a responsible, mature master who will eventually teach others? We humans struggle with the attachment concept. Attachment is difficult when you have to permanently or temporarily detach yourself from that object of affection. After Yoda tells the Jedi he needs their help to rescue Jabba's son, Anakin and Ahsoka go to Teth to rescue the Huttler, while Obi-Wan goes to Tatooine to make a deal with Jabba. The movie takes us to Jabba's palace on Tatooine. Jabba's servant shows the foreheads of the bounty hunters that he sent to rescue his son. An eerie violin score plays in the background, and Jabba contacts the Supreme Chancellor. We return to the peaceful and pretty music on Coruscant. The Chancellor assures Jabba that they are searching for his son and will rescue him. A Republic warship arrives on the scene. The music is a suspenseful, aggressive tone of drums and horns with a mysterious and slightly eerie flavor as a woman hums unintelligibly in the background. It has a Middle Eastern Sahara tone to it. The lighting from the ship's engine and the moon are clean and realistic. The flares are great. We enter the warship. Military music resumes as the clones show Anakin what enemy forces he and Ahsoka are up against, if they attack the fortress on Teth where the Huttla is located. Ahsoka proudly boasts how she saved Anakin, and the clones laugh. Anakin handles the joke well and is in good sport. I enjoy this camaraderie and friendship between soldiers and their superiors. Just because there is hierarchy does not mean that different groups within the structure cannot have relationships. The clones and Jedi exhibit a healthy relationship between superiors and inferiors. However, opposite spectrums can lead to tyranny and anarchy. Tyranny will destroy love and loyalty. Anarchy exterminates cooperation and obedience. Notice that strange and seductive graffiti art on the clone ship. When I was little, I had a very polarized view of the Clone Wars. The clones in the Republic were absolutely good, while the Separatists were absolutely evil. Now, it's clear that the clones, while under Jedi leadership, are still men prone to lust and temptation. Also, remember that the clones are bred to obey orders, not necessarily do what is right.
Sorry, just trying to keep the boys inspired is all.
Good. Keep inspiring them with your stories and remove the graffiti. Obi-Wan exits hyperspace to visit Jabba on Tatooine. I love the ambiance and the menacing, mysterious music. The oboe mixed with the Spanish guitar and Middle Eastern sounding female vocals make an exciting blend of music. It's not Star Wars-y, but it fits the desert theme of Tatooine. Okay, this guy didn't seem bothered by Obi-Wan's smug comment until he suddenly cared. It's kind of an awkward and strange turn of emotion and animation. I think it's clumsy, but I agree with the thug. Obi-Wan is profoundly arrogant and annoying. Obi-Wan reassures Jabba that Anakin is rescuing his son, but Jabba demands that the Jedi bring back his son's kidnappers, dead or alive. He gives them one planetary rotation to rescue his son. Obi-Wan is surprised that Jabba refers to his son as spunky or worthless. I'm confused as well. Jabba exhibited emotion and attachment when he learned that criminals had stolen his son. Perhaps he needs his son just to continue his empire after he passes. Obi-Wan contacts Anakin and relays what Jabba told him. A similar vein of desert-sounding music plays on Teth as Anakin and the clones attack the fortress. Ahsoka suddenly stares at the camera to give us nightmares. Ahsoka continues to be smug and arrogant to her master, but the exchange humors Anakin. The Separatists start firing at the Republic ships, and they decide to land. These artillery droids are like pet dogs in the droid world. How cute. I like how the music ends in suspense when the green light ignites. Then, all we hear is the ambiance of battle.
What was that again? Just fire right there.
Now that is hilarious. Apparently the droids are the comic relief in this movie.
Oh my God! Get back here, Sergeant.
Why is a droid A soulless being incapable of a relationship with a deity, mentioning God. Isn't the Star Wars universe supposed to be evolutionary? I thought gods didn't exist in Star Wars. Who programmed the droids to say this? Writers of fantasy worlds and universes need to be mindful of the context of their worlds. Depending on the setting, characters cannot simply use our words, metaphors, and language if it does not match that world's setting and structure. In this case, I think the droid mentioning God is inconsistent with Star Wars lore and is rather clumsy and cringy to have him crossing our world and his world. Maybe I'm being too pedantic, but I think the point is valid.
So, this is where the fun begins.
Race you to the top.
I'll give you a head start.
Your mistake.
Oh wow, they just had Ahsoka say Anakin's famous line in Episode 3. She's right though. The Clone Wars has just begun, so the fun has begun. This is a cool but depressing connection to the end of Anakin Skywalker 3 years later. Tragically, when Anakin said it,
"This is where the fun begins."
It's where the fun ends. Ahsoka decides she can be Anakin to the top by riding the ATTE. So we just had heart-racing and epic orchestral fighting music. Now the music is 90s and 2000s rock with an electric guitar and modern drums. This music doesn't fit the thematic Star Wars music mode we've heard. I don't mind it, but I expected consistent orchestral pieces in the Star Wars universe. Star Wars has a reputation to uphold, so I expected them not to incorporate modern rock music. Finally, we resumed suspenseful orchestral battle music. Wait a minute, is this Super Mario Bros?
Rex, follow me!
Yes, sir! Working on it.
I agree with Rex here.
Surrender, Jedi.
This photo is aesthetically and narratively striking. Anakin opens his frosty blue eyes and ignites his equally blue lightsaber to destroy his enemies. But notice that his face isn't an evil or angry smirk. Instead, it's a focused, confident face with a subtle tint of Jedi benevolence. But the only ominous thing about this scene is that Anakin's lightsaber ignites with the classic Sith sound effect.
I told you to stay close to me.
I can't get much closer, Sky Guy.
There's no way she heard him. After defeating the droids, Anakin thinks Count Dooku's behind the Huttlet's kidnapping. In this scene, neither of the characters seem to be looking at one another, and their movements are rigid. Anakin, Ahsoka, and the clones enter the monastery. The movie creates a great ambiance with the men's choir humming in the background and the monastery's echoing effect. A service droid ominously appears and tells Anakin that the Separatists keep prisoners on the detention level. Is no one going to ask who this droid is and why he's here? Ahsoka loses her temper when the droid mocks her and proves she needs more self-control.
Well done, Ventress. All is going according to plan.
You already said that, Dooku. Don't be a bland evil character who has no personality. Anakin and Ahsoka walk past groups of droids on the detention level. Ahsoka is concerned that Anakin is walking to a trap. She insists that they kill the droids, and Anakin tells her that she can if she wants to. Ahsoka kills 4 droids, realizing Anakin used it as a training lesson.
I'm improving your technique.
Of course, you did miss one.
I did that on purpose.
This time, your sarcasm failed, Ahsoka. Anakin and Ahsoka find Jabba's son, who is a small, ugly slime ball.
Oh, he's so cute.
Ahsoka now goes all cuties on the creature and abandons her smug and temperamental personality for something more compassionate. We now see Count Dooku on Tatooine after everyone leaves. That is one massive underlip. It's almost bigger than mine. And the beard animation here looks like a chiseled rock with finger stains. Dooku enters the palace as Oriental music plays. He tells Jabba that the Jedi kidnapped his son. He explains that the Jedi plan to destroy Jabba, but the Hutt wants proof.
See? You're 2 of a kind.
Maybe you should carry both of us then.
Nice line, Anakin. Fantastic. The Jedi discover that the baby Hutt is sick, and they try putting him in a pack. As they struggle, the service droid records the process and collects proof to frame the Jedi for conspiracy against the Hutts. Dooku's apprentice transmits the recording to her master. Dooku shows the recording to Jabba, who now believes the Jedi actually kidnapped his son. Dooku assures Jabba that his droids will save his son. Jabba is a sly cat, or slime. He asks Dooku what he wants in return for saving his son. Dooku offers the Hutt a place in his confederacy. The Separatists attack Anakin and Ahsoka while they discuss things with Obi-Wan on a holocron. This clone could have destroyed all the droids in 6 seconds and won the battle. Instead, he doesn't know how to aim. That was an awkward maneuver. Did Anakin use the Force to slide on the floor under the gate? The Separatists now have the clones and Jedi cornered inside the monastery.
Get ready to turn those clankers into scrap metal.
I love Rex's line here. It makes me smile. R2 looks for a way out of the monastery while the clones delay the droids. Anakin insists that Ahsoka get some rest, but she refuses. Anakin asks what she's trying to prove. Ahsoka answers she wants to prove that she isn't young enough to be his Padawan. Anakin quotes Qui-Gon Jinn by saying that nothing happens by accident. He comforts Ahsoka by telling her that she is meant to be with Anakin because the Force wills it. Anakin is protective of Ahsoka because he cares for her and wants her to survive and thrive. I love how the movie shows us the surprising depth of Anakin's compassion and selflessness. Some 80s suspense music plays as the droids try infiltrating the monastery. R2 shows that the monastery has a backdoor landing platform, so the Jedi run to it. Rex nearly shoots Ventress, but misses because the movie can't let her die. Now we hear the chilling sound effect of Force choke.
I don't talk to separatist scum!
He just did. Ventress tries to mind trick Rex into contacting Anakin and getting the Jedi to reveal his location. But she does a miserable job. Anakin detects a problem and they try escaping. Obi-Wan and more clones arrive on Teth and attack the separatists at the monastery. Anakin contacts Kenobi to help them escape. The droids round up the remaining clones. Obi-Wan contacts Rex and his wrist-comm dings. A droid gets suspicious, and Rex then shows it how his wrist-comm works. He steals his gun, then fires back at the other droids. Hey, it's Battlefront 2! First-person shooter vibes. I enjoyed that game while it thrived. Jabba's son, whom Ahsoka calls Stinky, identifies a landing platform with a ship. So Anakin and Ahsoka fly on the massive insects whose nests the spider droids are disturbing. The insect noises remind me of an essence or item you receive in an old NS64 or Xbox video game. Ahsoka briefly spars with Ventress, and Anakin rescues his Padawan and takes her to the landing platform.
Should I tell him they got away, or what?
That was cold. But to be honest, the droid could have saved his neck if he had a different tone. I love this scene where the clone oddball panics that he can't escape some vulture droids. Obi-Wan tells him to calm down and comes behind to destroy both enemies. Oddball thanks Kenobi and apologizes for panicking, to which Obi-Wan says it happens to everybody. This is so true. No matter how great or heroic someone may seem, we all deal with fear and anxiety. However, it's our choice to be courageous, overcome it, and fight on, or to surrender. I choose to rely on Jesus Christ to help me overcome my fears and be victorious through every difficult circumstance. Anakin and Ahsoka land on the platform. Ahsoka recognizes the caretaker droid but realizes he's a traitor when separatist droids exit the ship. Here comes the 2000s rock music again. They might as well play Danger Zone from Top Gun. Brave, but foolish. That was a brutal death.
Got you outnumbered!
Outnumbered? Wait, 1, 2, 3.
These droids are too amateur. Obi-Wan, Cody, and the clone reinforcements defeat the separatists in the monastery. Obi-Wan searches for Anakin. Oh, this is a nice perspective of Jabba's palace from the Jawa's point of view. Meanwhile, Count Dooku contacts Ventress and tells her to recapture Jabba's son so the separatists can control the war in the Outer Rim.
I hope so, for your sake.
That's a nice Vader line there. By the way, Christopher Lee's doing an amazing job voicing Dooku. Obi-Wan interrupts Ventress's call with Dooku, and they begin to spar.
Anakin leaves quite a mess, which always leads me to you, Ventress.
Obi-Wan roasts Ventress and does his typical Jedi attack pose. Anakin and Ahsoka try to escape with the separatist ship. Reluctantly, Anakin tells Rex he can't help the clones fight after promising to help them. Rex says the mission comes first and continues to fight. Again, Anakin sacrifices his attachment to his soldiers and his promise to help, and instead follows his objective. Obi-Wan tries to get inside Ventress's head in a passive-aggressive mode. Obi-Wan toys around with Ventress because she is not at his skill level. I wonder if Obi-Wan and Ventress knew each other before the war. Notice how Obi-Wan calls her sweet, and smirks when she unrobes and lashes out at him. Meanwhile, Ahsoka prattles about her pride and staying focused and calm, which makes things easy. As they enter a war zone, Anakin humorously urges her to remain focused. The Republic warship fires at Anakin and Ahsoka because they think it's an enemy ship. So Anakin contacts Admiral Yularen and tells him they have the Hutlet, who's really sick, and they must board immediately. A suspenseful dogfight occurs as the warship lowers its deflector shields and opens the hangar door. The Vulture droids chasing Anakin and Ahsoka decide to go kamikaze. They run into the Republic hangar bay and cause an explosion. Anakin and Ahsoka are now forced to fly their ship to Tatooine. Why couldn't they wait until the explosion dissipated and enter the hangar? Obi-Wan and Ventress continue fighting while showing off their acrobatics. The fighting animation is graceless, clumsy, and too fast. However, the fighting here is better.
Don't die on me now, little guy. Just hang in there.
This might be a reference to Episode 2, when Anakin urges his dying mom not to die in front of him. Perhaps the hurt in Anakin's eyes is a flashback to what happened before. At this point in the chronology, his mother's death would still be fresh in his memory. This is both heartwarming to see Anakin's compassion and depressing to view his hurting eyes. Obi-Wan and Ventress sense Anakin and Ahsoka have left the planet, and Kenobi insists her plan has failed.
Your master will not be pleased.
Wow, Obi-Wan. How much further do you have to dig into Ventress's head? Obi-Wan tries to get Ventress to surrender, but she flees instead. I applaud her, because Obi-Wan is downright manipulative and extremely annoying. Meanwhile, Ahsoka searches the ship she and Anakin are flying to learn how to help the Huttlet feel better. She activates a holocron of a medical droid. Ahsoka's cringing face is priceless. The medical droid tells Ahsoka to give the Huttlet a medical booster.
You'll take this and like it.
Sounds just like my dad teasing me when I was picky about eating food or taking medicine. Thank you, Ahsoka, for evoking funny childhood memories. Obi-Wan confirms with Rex that Anakin and Ahsoka are flying a spice freighter to Tatooine. Ahsoka tells Anakin that the medicine is healing the Huttlet. He asks her if the mission was as easy as she thought.
You've taught me one thing, it's that nothing is easy when you're around.
He seems to take her sarcasm well. Anakin asks Ahsoka to help him repair the ship before they reach Tatooine. The Skywalker theme song plays quietly with a flute. Ahsoka knows that Anakin grew up on Tatooine and then remarks that he's going home. The next scene is menacing because Anakin's face darkens, and he scowls and mutters. The peaceful Skywalker theme suddenly grows ominous with deep cellos and violins overwhelming the flute. The Tusken calls echo in his mind, and he's clearly haunted and angered by old memories. Dooku contacts Ventress in front of Jabba. Ventress lies that Skywalker killed the Huttlet, which infuriates Jabba. She explains that the Jedi are headed to Tatooine. Dooku is disappointed with Ventress, and stares threateningly at her. He tells Ventress we're going to have the talk later, reminding you of when you misbehaved at home and your mother said, "Wait till your father gets home," and your heart melted and your world darkened. Jabba asks why the Jedi are coming to Tatooine, and Dooku responds that they want to kill him and eliminate the Hutt clan. Dooku offers to help Jabba defeat the Jedi, and his bodyguards conveniently appear as if Dooku rehearsed it with them. As Anakin and Ahsoka approach Tatooine, Anakin spills the beans that he never wanted to see the planet again. A deep cello plays in the background, indicating a dark and threatening note connecting Anakin's past. Ahsoka then asks what happened, and Anakin abruptly changes the subject. Now Dooku's bodyguards approach the spice junker with their ships and begin firing. Ahsoka taunts Anakin for not repairing the rear deflector shields because they could use those right now. Anakin is too annoyed to laugh. The cute couple argue some more, and then a wild dogfight in space ensues. After Anakin destroys one ship, R2 turns the guns around to obliterate the other ship. Ahsoka tells Anakin that he has a "we're in trouble" look, and he's surprised there's a look. Anakin contacts Obi-Wan, and Kenobi asks if he got shot while flying. Ahsoka confirms Obi-Wan's suspicion, and Anakin tries to make an excuse. Obi-Wan insists he'll come help after he cleans up Anakin's mess on Teth. I actually enjoy the chemistry between these three characters. It's a triangle of three arrogant characters that check the other. As a group, their relationship is very lively and dynamic.
This landing could get a little rough.
Crashes are rough. Landings are not.
Then it's a crash landing.
The banters are still entertaining. Anakin lands the spice junker on Tatooine's sand surface. Dooku announces to Jabba that the Jedi ship has crash landed and he will deal with any survivors. The scene switches back to Coruscant, where it plays that same beautiful melody I commented on with violins, brass, and a flute ticking like a clock. I can't get over it. I think it's superb. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan tells Yoda and Chancellor Palpatine that Anakin has reached Tatooine, and Dooku has told Jabba that the Jedi kidnapped his son. Yoda and Palpatine realize that their only hope is in Skywalker, who has had experience with Hutts. Senator Padme Amidala enters Palpatine's chamber, and he excuses himself with Yoda. Padme tells Palpatine that she heard there's a new battle on the Outer Rim,
including a small skirmish with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin.
Anakin, is he in danger?
Notice that Palpatine did not say Anakin Skywalker, but just Anakin to make it more personal for Padme. It's so clever of Palpatine because he somehow knows Padme and Anakin's attachment. Look at his face when he says Anakin. Padme doesn't seem to notice Palpatine's manipulative intentions and reacts as he expects. Without asking if Obi-Wan's alright, she asks if Anakin's in danger. The music briefly turns dark. Palpatine tells Padme that Jabba believes Anakin has abducted his son. Padme is incensed. She declares she will go to the Hutts to convince Jabba of Anakin's innocence and have the Hutts sign their secret treaty about Outer Rim access. Palpatine refuses to let Padme go, but she insists she'll talk to Jabba's uncle on Coruscant and persuade him to reopen negotiations with Jabba and the Republic. Anakin, Ahsoka, and R2 now exit the spice freighter to take the Huttlet to Jabba.
Oh, R2-y. It's just endless endless tracks of gritty, abrasive sand. I'll clean your servos later. Come on.
Ahsoka continues to be very sarcastic. Is there a Jawa vehicle nearby? Where did these guys come from? So we just heard Middle Eastern Oriental music. Now we're hearing 1940s jazz music on Coruscant? The shift is startling, not Star Warsy at all, but it's acceptable because the night lights and city vibe match the saxophone, slow bass, and drums. Well, since these Cantina guys are playing the music, then it's totally acceptable. Is Jabba's Uncle Zero supposed to be a drag queen? This is totally weird. He has a confusing color palette, but the actor Corey Burton did a great job with his character. Okay, this is amazing because Corey Burton also plays General Loathsome, and later does Count Dooku in the show. Talk about one actor creating distinct voices for various characters. Impressive. Most impressive. Padme is disguised. She enters the bar/nightclub with an assassin droid escorting her to Zero. Indecisive music plays as Padme asks Zero to broker a treaty between the Hutt clans and the Republic. Zero refuses and throws Padme out. Ahsoka tries to get Anakin to talk about his past on Tatooine, but he stubbornly refuses to become vulnerable to her the way she became vulnerable to him. Because she opened up her fears and doubts earlier in the movie, Anakin could use wisdom to encourage her and help her overcome her insecurities. However, Anakin will not talk about his past with others, which is preventing him from facing his fears, destroying them, and moving on. Anakin is a very complex character, hypocritical in some ways. Anakin remarks that the sand is merciless and takes everything from someone. His eyes squint and the music grows louder and more sinister. The nuggets referencing Anakin's past are chilling and significant. During the first part of the movie, I've seen Anakin in a good mood, energetic, wise, thoughtful, and filled with love and kindness. Now, his dark past is disturbing his attitude, making him fatigued and moody, and provoking an immature side remaining in his childhood to emerge. Padme escapes from the assassin droid escorting her out of the club and heads back in. Is this the same room where they were having all the festivities? It better not be, because that transition was too sudden. Padme discovers that Zero is conspiring with Count Dooku. She learns that Zero helped Dooku kidnap Jabba's son to convince Jabba that the Jedi stole him. Next, the plan is that the Jedi will kill Jabba. Zero will then become the leader of all the Hutt clans.
He continues her investigation. Have her meet with an accident with extreme prejudice.
The assassin droid catches Padme. She exchanges words with Dooku on the holocron, and the Sith Lord tells Zero to keep Padme alive because his separatist allies will pay a lot of money for her. I can see the disgust in Dooku's eyes for the Hutts.
It's the dark side of the Force.
Aw, that's cute. He detects the dark side just like the Jedi. Anakin tells Ahsoka to take the Huttlet to Jabba while he faces Dooku. She says she won't leave Anakin because she wants to keep him alive. After looking at her eyes, I can clearly see the love for her master. It's grown and developed quickly. Despite the cruel and sarcastic jokes she makes, she still deeply cares for Anakin. Zero's assassin droids throw Padme in a jail cell. Her holocron beeps and the droid turns it on to see 3PO answer it. She yells to her servant droid that Zero captured her and orders 3PO to get help. Anakin is walking calmly on the Tatooine dune at night with the backpack. The music starts ominously with violins. Then horns join in as the music turns suspenseful as Dooku arrives and Skywalker faces him. Dooku shoots lightning at Anakin, and he deflects it. Afterwards, they commence fighting. Dooku remarks that Anakin's training has improved and taunts him by calling him a boy. The music has a healthy suspense. The choreography and lightsaber effects keep me engaged. Also, the history between Dooku and Anakin adds an extra layer of interest and excitement. Dooku now taunts Anakin with his painful past on Tatooine. Anakin force pushes Dooku back with a cloud of sand. Dooku then deflects the sand back onto Anakin, and Skywalker loses his lightsaber. That was way too close. How can Anakin stop Dooku's lightsaber from slicing his body in half after the Sith Lord leapt 30 feet in the air at 50 miles per hour by holding his lightsaber with only one hand? After Dooku slices Anakin's backpack, Anakin taunts Dooku and says the Huttlet with his Padawan heading to Jabba's palace. Dooku says Anakin's Padawan is useless, but Skywalker counters that she's more resourceful than he believes. Ahsoka has to fight 3 Magna Guards. I don't know about you, but I'm rooting for the droids. Dooku shows a holocron of Ahsoka fighting his guards to Anakin and tells him that they will return the Huttlet to Jabba and the Hutt will most likely execute Ahsoka. Who's even recording the holocron? There were only 3 guards. Is there some mysterious ghost that Dooku hires to record his stuff? Anakin wrecks Dooku with a killer kick that would make John Cena blush. The music becomes sorrowful with high violin strokes. Instead of continuing to fight Dooku, Anakin leaves to go help Ahsoka. I admire Anakin's sacrifice and loyalty here. Instead of gratifying his selfish desire to continue fighting Dooku and possibly kill him, he realizes that helping his Padawan and getting the Huttlet safe to Jabba is more important because it's his duty. This is a true Jedi move of mercy and devotion, and not a selfish, immature Anakin decision. Moreover, throughout the fight, Anakin did not give in to rage, which I commend him for. After humiliating herself in a dire circumstance, Ahsoka continues to crack jokes.
I thought you liked to play in the sand.
3PO arrives at Zero's quarters to try and help Padme. Meanwhile, the droids bring her to Zero after she tried to call for help. Now the clones storm Zero's place with some swag and destroy the droids. I love the clone dive into the bar. Seems familiar to another movie. Now Padme and the clones have captured Zero. This scene was impressive to me. I love the lightsaber ignition, the high elevation jump and flips, and the slice down the middle. She's deadly for a youngling. Oh, I meant Padawan. Anakin arrives at the Hutt's palace with Dooku's speeder while Ahsoka fights the droids in the ravine. Anakin heads to the palace and is alarmed when he learns that Ahsoka isn't there. Anakin pulls his lightsaber on Jabba, which makes the Hutt believe the Jedi actually came to kill him, to which Anakin replies he only came to negotiate. I love Ahsoka's choreography. It was smoother than the Obi-Wan Ventress fight. Man, I don't blame her for being exhausted. It's no small feat for a youngling, Padawan, to kill 3 Magna Guards. Obi-Wan and Anakin had enough trouble with only 2 in Revenge of the Sith. Ahsoka comes just in time to prevent a potential fight in Jabba's palace. She presents the Huttlet to Jabba, and a harp and violin melody plays softly in the background as father and son reunite. Suddenly, Jabba wants to kill the Jedi, then Zero and Padme contact Jabba. Zero nervously confesses that he was responsible for the Huttlet's abduction and for framing the Jedi. After learning the truth, Jabba agrees to make a treaty with the Republic for Outer Rim access.
Senator, you have my undying gratitude.
No, Master Skywalker, it is I and the Republic who owes you thanks.
Aw, how cute. Husband and wife flirting in public via holocron communication. Jabba then asks the Jedi to bring Dooku to justice for his crimes. Meanwhile, Dooku and Sidious have a quick chit-chat about how the Jedi are losers. The Skywalker theme plays as Obi-Wan, Yoda, and some clones arrive at Jabba's palace to do some negotiations and express gratitude to the Hutt. The Jedi turn towards Jabba with Ahsoka in the front, which may allude to her central role as a protagonist in the Clone Wars show that succeeds this movie. So, was Star Wars The Clone Wars gold or garbage? Let's start with music. Successful music tells a story, and Kevin Kiner did so. The music was vivid and beautiful in most scenes. It blended well with the conversations, environments, and actions because it matched the emotions. There were a few abrupt moments where the music was irrelevant and did not fit the Star Wars vibe. Overall, it was splendid. Aesthetics. The animation and graphics were decent for 2008. However, other contemporary movies have higher quality, and in some scenes, I thought the graphics looked like they were still in beta. Also, there were awkward movements and facial expressions throughout the conversations and fight scenes that bothered me. The fighting could have been more realistic, but I did enjoy the attention, the resonating sound effects, and ambiance. The voice actors all did a marvelous job with their characters. I especially thought Matt Lanter's Anakin voice was great. He created an Anakin that is masculine, courageous, confident, humorous, and yet compassionate and humble. Function and story structure. The plot was clearly laid out. We had clear protagonists, antagonists, and interesting characters who proved their significance throughout the movie. The overarching conflict is Clone Wars, but the conflict that concerns our movie is Jabba's son being stolen and the need to rescue him for the Republic to get Outer Rim access. The climax was the Jedi and clones saving Jabba's son after near-death experiences. The conclusion is satisfactory. For a Star Wars fan, watching this movie is exciting and interesting and feels just at home. However, for a viewer who's never seen Star Wars, it can be confusing with new characters like Ventress. It's unclear what her relationship with Kenobi is, and viewers would wonder why Padme and Anakin also have a special relationship. There are some great morals in this film. This includes Anakin's ability to recognize Ahsoka's potential. Yes, she's complacent and annoying, but Anakin realizes she's just an insecure child who needs encouragement and teaching. Throughout the film, Ahsoka learns to overcome her doubts and fears of being too young, brash, or unskilled to become a Padawan or Jedi. She is willing to be vulnerable with Anakin to understand better how to become an effective Jedi Knight. Ahsoka converts her egotism into a more altruistic concern for others and humble courage. So although Ahsoka started as an annoying character, I appreciate her complexity and look forward to seeing her subsequent character development in the show, which I'll eventually get to. I enjoy how the movie shows Anakin's fight between the dark side and light side inside him. He is rash and careless at times. He struggles with his horrifying past on Tatooine and is tempted to exhibit cruelty. However, there is an admirable side of wisdom and self-control to his personality. Compared to Attack of the Clones, Anakin has grown stronger in the Force and virtues. He has patience and discipline, but he also has kindness and wisdom. He looks beyond Ahsoka's serious shortcomings and sacrifices his selfish desires for personal glory to train her. He views Ahsoka as his younger sister, and his love and loyalty throughout the show grows for her. Consequently, Ahsoka reciprocates those virtues and feelings, and their relationship becomes mutual. It's a touching story of two characters who dislike each other but then become great friends. The story teaches respecting authorities and those with experience. Use wisdom in your choices to produce fruitful consequences. It teaches that you must not have prejudice for others. You have to understand them before you can reject or accept them. You have to see the potential inside of others and inside you when you doubt yourself or are afraid to face your fears. You have to be kind and loyal to others. You cannot be selfish or arrogant, but selfless. Sacrifice your time to help others become better people. Consequently, you will become a greater character. As a Christian, I will add that we must look to Jesus Christ and ask Him to help us overcome our fears and help others overcome theirs. We humans can only accomplish so much on our own, but then we burn out because we are finite and imperfect. We have to look beyond ourselves for satisfaction. We can do anything when we rely on God's power for strength, wisdom, and peace. If you've never seen Star Wars, this movie is still great to enjoy the story, action, music, morals, and humor. However, before seeing this, I strongly recommend that you watch the original and prequel trilogies. Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie is definitely not gold, but it's not garbage either. It's in the middle, and is closer to the gold. It's a great movie with great content that's held back by the graphics and some function issues. Think of it as that cookie that looks soggy, burnt, or just doesn't look delicious. But after you take some bites, you realize it's tastier than you envisioned. I would definitely watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars movie again. It's an underrated movie that doesn't deserve the ratings it has, and I strongly encourage everyone to watch it. Merry Christmas. Congrats for watching. If you have found this video valuable in any way, please ring the bell below to see more content like this and not miss a single video. Now to end this review, I'll read from Proverbs 11:2. When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility comes wisdom. God bless you all. As a quick reminder, I do not own any copyright to any footage in this film. Disney owns all the rights to it. Also, I abide by fair use laws and am not infringing on copyright. My critique and commentary are transformative and original.